Why is it important to get ICF accreditation as a coach? I'm Ruth Kudzi, the founder of Ruth Kudzi Coaching. I transformed my life and my business, and I'm passionate about helping others do the same. So we know that the coaching world is unregulated, and actually many people use the word coach and they don't coach. They use it because it's shorthand. So they mentor or they train or they teach, and they're highly skilled at what they do. I've worked with some of these coaches who are amazing at marketing or sales or business or finance. I mean, there's so many different things that you can coach in, and coaches use that kind of generic term. Instead of consultant, it sounds a bit better, doesn't it? And it means that actually, if you do want to be a coach, if you want to use coaching skills, and definitely if you want to help people with their mindset, which is really what is fundamental to coaching, and habit change, having some kind of formal qualification and training really makes you stand out. And as the market is getting bigger, in the UK, it is still in that growth stage. We're probably about 10 years behind the US, Canada, and Australia, really, where coaching is much, much more embedded into the infrastructure there, and people find it much more usual to get a coach. There is this idea that it's going to become regulated. So if you're going to say that you're a coach, that you need to be accredited or associated with one of the big bodies. ICF, the International Coaching Federation, is over 25 years old, and they are the biggest accreditation body in the world. So why is biggest best? Well, I guess if we're thinking about regulation, being part of that biggest accreditation body means that you are part of the biggest group of professionals. And with that, you get to meet lots and lots of different people, you get lots of different experience, you get a wide variety of training that is all at a set standard. So bigger is great for professional development. It's great to create a movement. It's great to create unity around a body. And I think that for me, that is a big selling point of the ICF. Because they are the biggest and they are established, they have more clout, and they therefore are at the forefront of changing coaching. And I think it's really interesting. So lots of people I meet who are resistant to accreditation or doing a training course that is recognized, they say things like, well, ICF train coaches to be the same, and they really don't. So I have gone through many programs with different elements of ICF training. I run my own ICF certified training, an ACTP qualification, and we do CCE, so continuing coach education. And probably myself, I've done between 10 and 20 programs that have been associated with the ICF. And I'm an ICF MCC, I'm the top level with the ICF. And I've gone through my PCC and my MCC with them and have mentor coaching all around the ICF standards. And one thing that I learned going through that process is, yes, we have standards. And those standards are around ethics, they're around questioning, they're around you as a coach. And the new ones include your coaching mindset, which I love. So have these standards to meet. But actually within those standards, there is a wide range of things that you can do to meet them. It's not like you are going to become a Stepford coach and all be the same. It is very much adaptable to you and your clients and your style. And even in my coaching program, we teach neuroscience and positive psychology and transactional analysis, and we teach a GROW model and personality profiling. And all of these can be used to have ICF standard and credential coaching. So let's get rid of that myth that ICF coaches all do the same thing. It's a standard. And as you move up those standards, as you go from ACC to PCC, so you go from, you get more developed in your coaching, you have at least 500 hours at PCC, the coaching, the standards evolve. And it's much more about partnering with your client. It's much more about co-creating the relationship. It's much more about being in the moment and coaching. For me, it becomes more about helping the client really step into who they need to be and to implement and integrate the learning into everything that they do. And when you go from that being and that PCC level, that MCC, that standard is about truly being in the moment with your client. So it's not about using tools or resources or techniques or tricks. It's about having a depth of listening with your client and a depth of relationship where you bring in what is going on for you energetically as well as what is going on for them, and you use that to help them explore their inner world so they can therefore change their outer world. So actually, when I was going through my mentor coaching with my fantastic mentor who I've been working with for over a year now, when we were going through getting my coaching to PCC and to MCC level, it actually expanded the way that I coached. I moved into a more expansive place where it was about really focusing on the client, how they want to be and their inner world to have lasting transformational change. And this is why I'm so passionate about ICF. If we don't know, we can think that it is like a set of standards that don't relate to our impact as a coach. And I see all the time people saying that people are trained as coaches, but they're not good coaches. And I know in my coach training school, in the Choose The Coach Academy, that is not something that I stand for. When you come into that training school, we train you to be a great coach. We listen to your coaching, we give you feedback, we make sure that you understand that feedback, and we demonstrate and we help you develop as a coach, because it is a skill set. And it's a skill set you can use in any, as a relationship coach or a health coach or a business coach or a mindset coach. It's still that skill set. And that skill set is embedded in neuroscience. That skill set is embedded in behavioral change. So if you want to actually be a professional coach and you want to use coaching which is deeper and helps people make lasting change, for me, having an ICF credential really makes you stand out and says, I take what I do seriously. And I appreciate that within my practice, I need to adhere to certain ethical considerations. I need to professionalize. I need to make sure that I have very clear boundaries. I need to make sure that I set expectations. I need to hold the space for my clients so they're able to explore what is going on for them and they are able to come away with their own actions. You may see that I'm pretty passionate about this. And part of this is I made the choice to actually start my own coach training school back in 2019. But I actually made that choice quite a few years before. It was always on my agenda, but I actually stuck to it and did it in 2019. And through that process of doing it, I became a better coach because I really looked at what the ICF ethos was. I chose them because they have a focus on the coach as a person and that interrelatedness between the coach and their client. Now I see lots of people saying things like, oh, you can't be intuitive as an ICF coach. Well, actually, as an MCC level coach, they expect you to be intuitive. Even at a PCC level, they expect you to bring your intuitions and your energy and what's going on for you. And they expect you to reflect that back to a client, but in a way that you are not holding anything to that intuition. You're using it as a tool to see where the client wants to go and to explore if it is that what you're feeling is actually what is going on. So if you want to be a more intuitive coach, this works for you as well. If you want to tune in to a deeper relationship, it works for you. And by going through the mentoring and by going through the training that you need to have to get to that standard, it means that you've got more tools in your toolkit. It means that you're more confident as a coach. And if you're confident, then you can support your clients better. Because we all know when you start off coaching, and I know that when I started off, I used to think, oh, what questions am I going to ask? Like, what's coming up? And I used to sometimes have thoughts in my head when I was coaching someone. Now I don't. I am completely open and curious to what is going on with them. And that means that we can get much better results. My clients have been able to transform the way they think about themselves and therefore the way they act about themselves because I coach to an MCC level standard, which means that I am led by the client. And my role is to reflect and explore what is going on for me energetically as well as what is going on for the client, in so much that I'm a vessel that holds that energy too. And in that container, I will be absorbing their energy. It is absolutely transformational. It's completely different, I think, to how people think an ICF coach is. I think they expect it to be very corporate. And yeah, of course, you could go down that route. But actually, if you are committed to being a coach, what is stopping you? And you want to do that deeper work. This isn't if you're a marketing coach and teach someone marketing, that's completely different. This is if you want to work with people on that deeper level. Having that credential professionalizes what you do. Having that credential allows your clients to see that you are serious about your personal development and you're serious about your professional development and that role that you have as a coach. It shows that you have committed to coaching, training, and doing the coaching hours. And it shows that you commit to the ethical standards as a coach, which is so important because ultimately we're working with clients' minds. And really, if we're not working at that standard, we can harm them. And we don't want to ever harm our clients. So if you're thinking about getting ICF accreditation, you obviously will want to check out some training courses if you haven't already. The Choose The Coach Academy is a great place to start. And then you can start to feel into the type of coach that you want to be. How do you need to show up to be that coach? How do you need to show up to get your clients those great results? And it means that you stand out from the crowd. And personally, it means it will give you confidence to go out there and sell yourself as a coach. Let's be really clear, what is an ICF accreditation? So to get your ICF accreditation, the first is ACC. You need to have done a training program that is accredited with the ICF. So it could be an ACTP, which is like the one I offer, or an ACTSCH, and you need to submit that. Now, if you've done the ACTP, it's a full qualification, so it includes the mentor coaching. The other one, you need to do 10 hours of mentor coaching on top of that. And that mentor coaching is around the ICF Standard. So when you've done that, you submit 100 hours, the training, and you have to do a test, which is aligned with the ICF standards and the ethics, agree to the ethics and submit that with a payment of around $200 and you get your first level. If you have not done a training that a full ACTP, you also need to submit some recordings. And that's the same for the PCC, that's 500 hours. If you've done a full ACTP, you don't need to submit anything else. If you haven't, you need to submit the recordings and you need to have 125 hours of training for this one. You need to submit the recordings and the mentor coaching. If you've already done the test, you don't need to do it again. So I chose to do an ACTP of full qualification because that enables you to fast track and go straight to that accreditation. You don't need to have mentor coaching. You don't need to submit any recordings. So it means that if you want to get accreditation, if you do the full program, it's a lot easier, and equally you're not paying again for the mentor coaching. And the reason I did it is, I'll be really honest, I actually did a program that didn't include the mentor coaching and didn't include all of that, and I had to pay about £3,000 extra on top of that program in order to get my accreditation. So I didn't want my clients to be in that position. I'm going to leave the next video here, and as always, if you've enjoyed this, I would love you to subscribe, like it, and ring that bell so you get the next video. If you're interested in what I'm talking about, come join me on Facebook in the coaching community, where I'm going to be sharing a lot more about all of my topics. Click the link below to sign up.